I want to tell you guys a manifestation success story because I know they always help me, and I'm sure they always help you feel like it's actually possible for you to manifest. So I was able to manifest a paid in full trip to China. So let me explain. So first, there's some things that you need to know. This was a long time ago. This was all the way back, I believe, my sophomore year in high school. So to say my age, that was like 2005, 2006. Okay, so there had been a hurricane that was really bad, category 3, that hit where I lived in South Alabama. And it was called Hurricane Ivan. Then the following year, there was another hurricane, Hurricane Katrina, which most of you guys probably have heard about because of how devastating it was to the New Orleans area. Well, it didn't affect my area quite as bad, in the Baldwin County, Alabama area, quite as bad, but it still affected it. So there is this program called People to People Student Ambassadors. It was founded by Dwight D. Eisenhower way back in the day to bridge the gap between the United States and other countries, helping students to learn about others' cultures and to make connections so that way we can be more diplomatic in the future. It's a great program, but you have to be nominated. If you're a student, you have to be nominated. So I was nominated, but then I had to pay for it. So, and we did the fundraisers. We asked family and friends, which they were not very helpful, by the way. Sometimes you got to bootstrap, right? And then this scholarship came along, and I forget how many they were choosing, but I know that it wasn't just one winner. So there were several people who could win. And this is specifically just for the Baldwin County area. This is not for anybody else, anywhere else. So for the Baldwin County area, it was a scholarship based on basically like how Katrina affected you. And, I hem-hawed with my mom, and I was like, Katrina didn't affect us, but Ivan did. And she's like, well, write about that. And I was like, well, okay. And so I did. So I stated, like, right off in the beginning, I was like, look, Hurricane Katrina didn't really affect my family, but Hurricane Ivan did. And then I went into the story. So at the time, we were kind of in between places, and we were renting out my grandfather's trailer. It was a really nice trailer, don't get me wrong, but anyways, when the Hurricane Ivan came through, it damaged the actual trailer itself. Like, it was like the floor was like, and there was a lot of water damage. A lot of stuff was ruined. And so my older brother, myself, and my parents had to kind of like crash out in other places. So my dad had an auto mechanic shop at the time, and so I lived in the loft above his shop, and my brother lived in his van, and my parents lived in their van. We would hose off in the water hose that was attached to the shop, and we would go to the bathroom in the shop. Luckily, my dad did have a mini fridge, and we did have a deep freezer. We did have a grill, and the community it just warms my heart, like how much they helped us out. I mean, like, it almost brings tears to my eyes, like, really, literally. And then sometimes we could go over to my grandfather's and shower and do laundry and things like that, but it was like once a week kind of thing. So, my high school put me as homeless because technically I was. So my mom begged and pleaded for them to give us a FEMA camper. And finally we got a FEMA camper. After months, like, it was starting to get really cold. And finally we got one. And then after that, they were eventually able to, like, get my grandparents to co-sign a mortgage for them. And so we were able to move into a house. And, it was one of those times that it was very hard. It was very, very hard. The only time that I got like a really bad grade in school was during that time. And I say bad, it was a D, but also I didn't like the teacher. She was a... But to each their own. It was in biology anyways too, so whatever. But I kind of like I wrote the essay telling them what was up, and then I just was like, if it happens, it happens, you know? And then I must have gotten the letter, because I don't think they called me. I think I got a letter in the mail that was like, congratulations, you got the scholarship. And we're talking about, I think it was like $6,000, maybe $6,500 for the trip. Now, you couldn't do that now. You couldn't even fly over to China for $6,000 probably. And I will tell you, it was the most amazing trip of my entire life. Now, it's the only place that I've been outside the United States, but just to be able to see all of those people and see how they live and go, and we even, you know, did a homestay, and we stayed with a family, and they didn't speak English, you know, and it was just, we were just so welcomed almost everywhere, and just to see everything. And I am so unbelievably grateful, and always will be, for having that experience. So anyways, yeah, that's my manifestation success story. And I really feel like I was able to manifest that so much because I was so detached from it, you know, because I didn't really think that I was going to get it. I mean, I hoped I did, but I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I have to have this, you know. I was still planning on trying to, you know, like we made these like little like candle holder things, and, you know, we had other things that we were reselling, and I mean, it was a slow process, but, you know, so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to do this, and that's that. Now, I didn't have a whole lot of money when I was there, but most everything was provided for me. It was just like extras that I may want, you know, and because of the money that we had raised, I was able to buy myself a camera that I could use over there, and I used the shit out of that camera. So I hope this helps. I hope this inspires you, and remember to just detach from that outcome, and you can manifest as well.